to Leaders of Tomorrow, the only show on Indian television where you, the MSME, get center stage. This is ET-NA's special daily initiative to give MSMEs and entrepreneurs the opportunity to be front and center on every industry and area that matters to you. Tonight, we're bringing you part 2 of a 2-part awards special. Post the Leaders of Tomorrow Awards 2017, we had the who's who of India Inc. in attendance. Do take a look at some of the highlights of that evening.
The gala evening brought together the who's who of India Inc. on one platform to celebrate the excellence of India's MSME sector. Gracing the occasion, Vineet Nair, former CEO HCL Technologies and founder Sampark Foundation, spoke to budding entrepreneurs on the importance of perseverance, staying calm in the face of adversity and inspiring their teams. The evening saw industry stalwarts come together to deliberate on the theme of digitisation, regulation and globalisation for entrepreneurs.
Good evening. I started Comnet in 1993. It took us 10 years to become $100 million, the next 5 to become $1 billion, and the next 3 to become $2 billion. We started Sampark Foundation. It took us 7 years to get to 1 million children, and the next 3 to get to 7 million children, and the next 2, I'm sure, will get to 20 million children. So whenever you look at success as an entrepreneur, what comes to my mind are 3 recipes for success you should think about. First is take chances. Whenever there is a problem in life, you should feel excited because you are the only one who can pass over the bridge. Nobody else can. The second is think impossible. When you look at life with the lens of what can you do, not what you can't do, you will win. If you are not attempting the impossible, how will impossible happen? And the last and the most important, you can't do it alone. Inspire. Inspire your teams to do the impossible. Inspire your teams to climb Mount Everest every day. If you don't inspire your teams, how will you achieve the impossible? Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for taking the time out to speak with us. I want to start on a very positive note and start really by talking about the year that has been for small businesses. This year that has happened has been phenomenal for small businesses. So I want to start there and ask each of you, as an opening remark, to talk to us about what perhaps you see as being the big game changer over the next 5 years, the next 10 years, and perhaps the next 20 years for small businesses. Mr. Agarwal, I want to start with you.
Since independence, the lot of our population was involved into agriculture. As the economic development progresses, there has to be a shift from the agriculture to the manufacturing to the services industry. And the government focus should be to develop the manufacturing sector so that it can absorb the population which is displaced from the agriculture. But now that has come with the focus has come to the manufacturing sector. That is very much required. And manufacturing sector requires an ecosystem which is transparent, which is corruption-free, where there is ease of doing business. Because ultimately small businesses develop or get benefit only when there is a level playing field.
So I do have some specific questions to you regards specifically regulation, but I'll come back to that. Sunita, let me get your opening comments.
You know, there are clearly what Ernst & Young is calling the key forces that are driving this opportunity. And it includes everything from a growing middle class in India, which is aspiring for different kinds of goods and services. But it's also, how quickly, while SMEs may or may not be adopting technology, how quickly, our urban and rural population is adopting technology, and it's becoming a way of life for them. And I think that creates huge opportunities for all kinds of companies. And I think, the predictions also are very strong. We're expecting that in the next 10 years, SMEs, if they continue to adopt technology and grow using that, then they will add another 10 percentage point to the GDP's contribution to GDP. I think that's tremendous.
All right. Let me balance this out by getting views from the left side of the panel as well. Let me come to you first, Gaurav. What's taking us then to the next 5-10 years?
See, I think next 5 years, the biggest game changer, like she said, is going to be technology. Technology is going to rule each and every aspect of doing business, whether it's manufacturing to logistics, to taking the stuff to the market, to marketing the stuff on social media. So technology is going to be the biggest game changer, followed very quickly by skilled manforce. I come from the skilling sector, so if you do not have a skilled workforce to deliver, then Make in India is just Make in India. Skill India is going to make in India happen. So I think these are the two biggest game changers.
All right, we are definitely talking about the demographic dividend here. Archana, your opening remarks.
So I'd like to begin by saying that I think India's greatest natural resource, or our resources, are fierce spirit of entrepreneurship, which is there, it is manifested over the centuries and even now. Give an Indian an opportunity, he will take it, he will take the risk, he will do the business. As Mr. Agarwal rightly said, the environment is easy. If it is easy to do business, more and more people will come into it. And the government has taken positive steps toward it by introducing GST, by increasing the penetration of telephones. Now comes the next step, which is to get people to put up businesses and get existing businesses to grow.
Sure.
The thing is that doing business has to be easier than it is today.
Okay.
And I think the growth...
There are, I'm sure, going to be differing viewpoints on that on the panel. But let me get your opening remarks as well on this, Dr. Bijlani.
The world is globalizing and deglobalizing at the same time, with shifts in nationalism and globalization conflicting. Countries around the world are imposing tariffs and counter-tariffs. The young leaders of tomorrow are also faced with the dramatic impact of technology and artificial intelligence upon us. So the combination of these forces of the globalization, deglobalization, artificial intelligence, and technology impact is so great that the young leaders of tomorrow need to be very much up to date and informed on a real-time basis on these issues in order that they can cope with these challenges, and they therefore need to change their management styles from the original top-driven or even front-end driven to facilitation of their teams within organizations as opposed to it being drivers.
Sure. I completely agree that we're seeing definitely as a new age, a new style of companies, a new style of management, of course. Mr. Salunke is someone who has his ear so close to the ground when it comes to small businesses, when it comes to MSMEs and SMEs. What, in your mind, is going to take us to the next 5 and 10 years?
See, last 5 years, we observed that a lot of SMEs are lacking on advanced technology. Rather, technology, particularly advanced technology. And if we have to empower SMEs, then they have to encourage to adopt the advanced technology. Next 5 years will be very important for SME sector.
Sure.
And the SME sector will, only this sector will complete or accomplish the dream project of Honorable Prime Minister, that is a new India.
All right. I want to talk about skill development because that is very crucial, along with, of course, the initiatives as far as financing for small businesses is concerned, is what the government is doing as far as skilling is concerned. I'd like the three of you to talk about skilling and reskilling of entrepreneurs, and also to talk about leadership styles which are changing for small businesses, given, of course, that a lot of people, a lot of companies tell us that only about 10% of all people coming out of colleges today into the workforce have the skill sets that they need for the businesses and the jobs that they're entering into, and then tie it in with what perhaps leaders should be doing to encourage more skill development.
So when we talk about skilled workforce in India, so the figures tell us officially we have about 4 to 5% of our total workforce which is skilled, as compared to 95% in Korea and China, also about 93%. Now that's not the skilled workforce per se, but it's the certified skilled workforce. Upskilling also, reskilling and upskilling is a very important factor which we are looking at. That's why the NSQF levels were developed, so people can grow up from level 3, 4 to all the way up to level 10 and actually have growth in what they are doing. Entrepreneurship is a very important factor because everybody may or may not get a job at the end of the skilling. So entrepreneurship comes as a very interesting, very important factor in this whole scheme of things.
Sure.
If you see the challenges faced by MSMEs, funding is a challenge, but finding skilled, adequate manpower is also a challenge.
And as far as creating the leaders then who are encouraging the skill development?
I think, it's one thing to ask others to help you, but I think the onus is on the leaders of companies or entrepreneurs who set up companies to figure out how they should develop their own selves and their teams, because the whole approach of being a leader and a driver is no longer valid. A team leader has to today be a facilitator.
Okay. Sunita and Mr. Salunke, we're running out of time on this panel. So very briefly, if I can ask the two of you, first off, of course, is digitization technology. It is changing what is happening, but are we seeing the changes happening at the grassroots level, where most of our MSMEs are based, tier 3, tier 4, etc.? Are we seeing that changing fast enough? And if not, what is going to create the pace of that change?
Well, I think that's a very complex, question. Certainly change is happening. There are no two ways about that. But I think we have to, when we look at digitization, you can't you look at it as a blanket, area. When we talk in the context of micro enterprises, we're really talking of cashless, going from cashless to digital, usage. And there, certainly we saw a spike for a brief period, but I think it's petering out. And there are multiple reasons, and unless we solve those problems, it's going to be hard. Things like access to capital is still informal for them, and cashless, therefore, cash, therefore, becomes the way for them to drive, that. There's also apparently 2% of all their revenue goes into servicing the compliances. Absolutely. So these are real problems for micro enterprises, and they need to be solved before you can think of.
Okay, Mr. Salunke, I'm going to quickly let you have the last word while we wrap this panel down. Do you think there's enough change happening there?
See, if we are to create a leaders of tomorrow, we have to focus on, first enhancing the credit facilities. Second thing, SMEs are a skill development institute. And they are, encouraging the unskilled to skill, but after 4 or 5 years, it goes to the large corporate. So government should give some, incentives. Those SMEs, giving proper guidance and support to make the unskilled to skilled labor. There is a very big opportunity for SME that is coming in the defense sector. It can propel lot of opportunities for the SME and the growth propel for the country. For 50 years, whatever will be the requirement of the government in the defense sector, that will be, Minister has promised that will be shared for the SME, and defense corridor as in UP are being built where product integration will be from the larger defense requirement will be done. Sure. So it's a great opportunity for SME to work into and get integrated in the even the domestic supply chain and the defense, and add into the global supply chain.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've run out of time, but for the brief remarks that we've had from all of you, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here this evening. Do stay tuned. We'll take a quick break, but on the other side, we'll continue bringing you highlights of the Leaders of Tomorrow Awards 2017 that saw the attendance of the who's who of India Inc. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. You're with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow, and tonight we're continuing to bring you highlights of the Leaders of Tomorrow Awards 2017, the only award show for small businesses. Do take a look at the highlights of that evening.
Leaders of Tomorrow Awards 2017 honored India's best performing MSMEs across 9 categories. With an impressive list of nominees in each category, find out who emerged as this year's winners and took home the coveted trophy.
I'd like to invite on stage our chief guest and the minister, Shri Dharmendra Pradhan sir, to come up on stage to hand out the awards, along with Mr. V. Vaidyanathan and the senior vice president of Times Network and the business head, Times Influence, Hemant Arora, to please join the presenters on stage to hand out this first set of awards. All right, now our first category is using the power of technology to cause some serious disruption in the age-old finance industry. Let's take a look at the nominees in the FinTech category.
The nominees for the FinTech category are Home Equity India, WazLoan.com, Wealth India Financial Services, AirPay Payment Services, Credit Vidya. And the winner is AirPay Payment Services.
I'd like to request the AGM of AirPay Payment Systems, Ms. Nigda Chitranshi, to come up on stage to receive their award.
We talk a lot about manufacturing here on the Leaders of Tomorrow, and this next category is responsible for the complex mechanism really and the nuts and bolts that puts it together. Could I also request member of the MSME Task Force, Ministry of Finance, Shri Gopal Krishna Agarwal, to come up on stage and join our chief guest for the evening as we give away this next set of awards. Category that we're talking about at this point is electricals and electronics. Let's take a look at the nominees.
The nominees for the electricals and electronics category are HGS India, Oro Power Systems, Pragati Electrocom, Adobe Metal Products. And the winner is HGS India.
Could I request Anil Das, Managing Director of HGS India, to please come up on stage to receive this award.
Hearty congratulations to HGS India. Let's take a look at our next category, which is the agriculture and food processing category. Here are the nominees.
The nominees for the agriculture and food processing category are Willowwood Crop Sciences, Vidya Herbs, Gorakhram Haribux, Agriland Biotech. And the winner is Willowwood Crop Sciences.
I'd like to invite up on stage the Managing Director of Willowwood Crop Sciences, Mr. Parikshit Mundra, to receive the award.
And thank you so much for your time, Mr. Agarwal. Thank you so much for your time. Hemant, this next category is intrinsic to the movement, literally, of the economy. It is my privilege to invite up on stage the chairman of Maruti Suzuki India to please give away this next award. Could I also invite back on stage Sandeep Gurmukh. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at the nominees in the transport and logistics sector.
The nominees for the transport and logistics category are 7 Seas Global Express Logistics, Sarjak Container Lines, E-Trans Solutions. And the winner is Sarjak Container Lines.
Could I invite up on stage Sarjak Seth President as well as Supal Shah to please come up on stage and receive your award. And do keep the applause going, ladies and gentlemen. These are our winners from thousands of nominees across the country.
Thank you, Mr. Bhargava, for the honors. Thank you so much, sir. Now, this next category has been in the news, whether it is government interest or investor action. To give away this award, I'd like to call back on stage the president of NASSCOM, Mr. R. Chandrasekhar. Let's take a look at the nominations for the IT, ITES and startup category.
The nominees for the category IT, ITES and startups are Autocarts Internet, Gadgetwood E-Services, JT Enterprises. And the winner is Gadgetwood E-Services.
I'd like to invite up on stage the co-founder and CEO of Gadgetwood E-Services, Jayant Jha, to receive the award.
The appetite literally of this next sector is expected to grow at a CAGR of nearly 13% till 2020. Could I please invite up on stage the founder and president of the SME Chamber of India, Mr. Chandrakant Salunke, to give out this next set of award. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at the nominees in the FMCG and consumer durables category.
The nominees for the FMCG and consumer durables category are Kamat's Our Times Ice Creams, Atul Paper, Kanhai Foods. And the winner is Kamat's Our Times Ice Creams.
Could I invite up on stage Girish Pai of Kamat's Our Times Ice Creams to receive this award?
Thank you, Mr. Salunke, for doing the honors. Thank you so much, sir. All right, now this next sector is something that we talk about on Leaders of Tomorrow quite often. It's definitely a big part of the building block of our society. I'd like to request Mr. V. Vaidyanathan to come back on stage to hand out this next set of awards. Let's take a look at the nominees in the education category.
The nominees for the education category are Pramod Enterprises, E. Prashala, Career Point, Morgan Education Foundation, T. John Group of Institutions, Virtual Global Education. And the winner is Morgan Education Foundation, T. John Group of Institutions.
I'd like to call the chairman of Morgan Education Foundation, Dr. Thomas P. John, to receive the award.
This is one sector where Indian companies have strength across the board, from raw material to the final high quality, if I may add, finished products. This is the second largest employer after agriculture in India. The nominees as far as textile, apparel and accessories, could we please have the nominees up?
The nominees for the category Textile, Apparel and Accessories are Regan Fashions, Tusha Textiles Mumbai, The Monarch Enterprises. And the winner is The Monarch Enterprises.
Could I invite up on stage Murtaza Tinwala of the Monarch Enterprises?
Hearty congratulations to the entire team at the Monarch Enterprises. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're down to our biggest award at the Leaders of Tomorrow Awards 2017. We're talking about the SME of the Year. I'd like to request Hemant Arora to join us back on stage to hand out this final award. Now, this award is a special recognition, and it's picked up by the members of the jury out of the winners from the other categories. Let's take a look at the winner of the SME of the Year.
SME of the Year. And the winner is Kamat's Our Times Ice Creams.
I'd like to invite Mr. Girish Pai back on stage to receive his second trophy this evening. Let's keep that applause going, ladies and gentlemen. This is the SME of the Year. Out of all the nominations that we've received this year, this one's topped the list. Now, we have to felicitate 5 special companies. Now, these companies are outstanding leaders of industry, and we're felicitating them as the Voice Award presents Super Achievers Making New India. These are the companies that we featured here on ET Now for them contributing to the economy. So, let's begin. First up, I'd like to invite on stage Ali Anwar Siddiqui, who's the AGM at Finolex Industries.
Can I also call up on stage Ansuya Gupta, Chairperson and Managing Director, Seco Technologies, to please come up on stage. She's also one of the people we're felicitating this evening for being a leader of industry.
Next up, we have Praveen Daryani, MD at the Indian Institute of Learning and Development.
Congratulations, Praveen. Could I call up on stage Jaideep Chaudhary, Head Corporate Affairs at Deepak Nitrite, to please come up on stage and receive this next felicitation, and congratulations to the team at Deepak Nitrite. Ladies and gentlemen, do applaud for these companies that are being felicitated by the leaders of tomorrow tonight.
And finally, Mr. Nitin Agarwal, CEO at Prayag Polymers.
Congratulations to everyone who's here tonight. Thank you so much, Mr. Agarwal, for taking the time out to be with us here tonight. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, so much for your time.
All right, that wraps up our show tonight. If you have any feedback for us, leadersoftomorrow@timesgroup.com is where you can send your emails, your feedback, your comments for us. You can also tweet at us. Sunanda_J is my personal Twitter handle. LOT_ET Now is our official Twitter handle. Or our Facebook page is Leaders of Tomorrow and ET Now, where you can send us all of your comments. We love hearing from you, so do keep your feedback coming in. Thanks very much for watching. Have a good night.